Back in 2017, I made a video where I talked about the history of the speedrun for Alpine Escape, the third mission in 007 Nightfire. To quickly sum it up, the current world record for Alpine Escape is 4 minutes and 2 seconds, which is held by 3 people. Over the years, people have fought tooth and nail to save every second they could from this level, and the whole thing settled down once Ali NK got his 4:02. But what if I told you that this isn't the best possible time? Believe it or not, at least 5 seconds can be saved due to an insane strategy that no one has pulled off before. Now, that amount of time in a single level of Nightfire is already a big deal, but this one is even crazier when you consider that Alpine Escape is an on-rails mission, meaning that you have no control of Bond throughout the level. So, how do you even save time in a mission where you can't speed up? Throughout the level, the driver, Zoe Nightshade, will occasionally slow down to give you time to shoot enemies. She'll speed up again once you're done with that, but naturally, you'll want to kill these enemies as soon as possible so she speeds up sooner. But if you kill them too early, Zoe will slow down and then never speed up again. This is because the game waits until after she slows down to check if you've killed all the enemies. If there are no enemies, you can't kill anyone, and if you can't kill anyone, then Zoe will never speed up again. That means speedrunners have played this level enough to know exactly when Zoe starts slowing down, just so they can shoot everybody at the right time, not too early and not too late. Aside from that, the rest of the level is really straightforward. Most of the stage isn't even time sensitive, so there are only a few places you need to optimize to get a perfect run. Assuming you hit all these time sensitive moments perfectly, you'll end up with a 4:03 on the in-game timer. So where does that extra second come from? About halfway through the level, there's this part where you drive up to a giant gate that the enemies close before you can drive through it. There are 3 ways to get past this part. You can either blow up the door with a rocket launcher, you can shoot a switch beside the gate to open it, or you can wait until an enemy helicopter appears and blows up the door himself. Obviously, waiting isn't an option here, so I'm just going to ignore that one. Now, most speedrunners will probably use the rockets to blow up the door since it's a bigger target and you're already aiming at it when the cutscene fades out. On the other hand, the gate switch is a really small target from this far away, and you have to spend some time moving the camera to hit it. Plus, you'll probably miss it unless you spend some more time making sure your aim is correct. This is where the time save comes from though. It turns out that it's about half a second faster to shoot the gate switch. Why? Because of the difference in speed between bullets and rockets. See, when you shoot a rocket, it takes a little bit of time for it to reach the gate. Bullets, however, travel instantly, even though it doesn't look like it. That means if you're using the machine gun, you can destroy the switch well before a rocket can blow up the door. However, Ali doesn't actually do this in his world record run. He doesn't save that half a second. See, he shoots the rocket launcher, not the machine gun. So he still has to wait for the rocket to move toward the switch. But if he doesn't save that half a second, and 4:03 was the best possible time, assuming you did everything else right, how did he get a 4:02? Well, it turns out he actually did save a very small amount of time here, in 2 different ways. First, the switch is slightly closer than the gate itself. Therefore, the rocket explodes a tiny bit earlier, causing Zoe to start accelerating sooner. The other small time save comes from the delay between the explosion and when the objective is completed. This is important because Zoe only starts accelerating when this objective is completed. However, if you shoot the switch, there's no delay. The objective is completed as soon as the switch is destroyed. So even though Ali didn't save as much time as he could have due to using the rocket launcher, he ended up saving a little more than 1/10 of a second by doing this, which, when combined with doing the rest of the level absolutely perfectly, is just enough to get a 4:02. Now, 4:02 is an amazing accomplishment, especially considering that we didn't know about that time save back then. Seriously, Ali did this completely on accident. But I'm not here to talk about 4:02. I'm here to talk about 3:57. How can 5 seconds possibly be saved from this level? Well, watch this.
Oh, nice, dude. No, what? What the hell? What the hell?
So, what happened? Well, a few years ago, a Nightfire speedrunner named Liam noticed that if you kill these enemies at the right time, one of their snowmobiles can sometimes push you through this tunnel a little faster than normal. He wanted to see how far this could go because new time saves on Autoscroller levels are few and far between. So he worked on this for a while and found that in rare situations, the enemy snowmobile can tip the player's vehicle over, causing them to roll through the cutscene and respawn farther ahead than usual. Sometimes, if you're insanely lucky, you'll basically get launched out of this tunnel and be placed even farther ahead. This is how the tool-assisted speedrun is able to get a 3:57 on Alpine Escape. In the absolutely ridiculous scenario where a speedrunner pulls this off, I think they could easily get a sub 4-minute run. But believe it or not, nobody has pulled this off in a run yet. It's tough because the enemies here are pretty random, and you can't predict exactly where their snowmobiles will go once they're killed. That means you need to kill the enemies at the right time, have their snowmobiles move in the right direction and at the right speed so that it hits you at the exact right time when you're exiting the tunnel. It's like the planets need to align before you can get this boost in a run, but if you do, I think it would be hard not to get a world record. There's one more thing I want to talk about, and it's how cutscenes affect the in-game timer. Before I go on, if you were programming a game like this, how would you program the in-game timer? What would it do when you reach a cutscene? Would it count the amount of time that you spend watching the cutscene, or would it pause during them? Well, Nightfire's developers actually disagree on this. In the on-foot levels, the in-game timer pauses during the cutscenes. I don't think that's too much of a surprise, I think that's how most people would program it, but things are different in the driving levels. In those levels, the full length of the cutscene is added to the in-game time, whether you skip it or not. That means if a cutscene lasts for 5 seconds, 5 seconds are added to your level time. If you manage to skip that cutscene, those 5 seconds don't get added to your time. That means if you find a way to skip a cutscene in a driving level, it could save a ton of time, even if you have to go out of your way to avoid it. Well, Alpine Escape has a short cutscene just at the top of this hill, and this snowmobile trick makes it possible to skip it. While I was working on that 3:57 task, I did manage to skip the cutscene, but it was quite a bit slower in real time, so I didn't end up doing it. The 3:57 task gets a really crazy snowmobile boost, but it also starts the cutscene at the top of the hill. So maybe it's possible to get an even better boost than this that also skips the cutscene. If so, I wouldn't be surprised if 3:55 was possible, but that's something I'll have to work on in the future. To sum it all up, even what looks like the most basic level in Nightfire speedrunning has a lot of depth to it. There's always potential for new strategies, and even this level, as optimized as it is, still has potential for new world records. Do you know of any other on-rails missions in games where speedrunners have found some crazy strategy to speed them up? If so, please let me know in the comments because I'm always interested in hearing about this kind of stuff. And if you liked this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing since I plan to make many more videos like this one in the future. Thanks for watching.